What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys. Glad to be here tonight. Glad to see everybody in the chat, man. Glad to be a Buckeye, man. I just wanted to remind people, we're national champs. Got the hat on, got the shirt on. Living that high life, man. These Buckeyes are doing their things. Great to be a Buckeye fan. Great to be a part of something that Ryan Day is doing. A lot of momentum all over the place. And we're at a point in the year where some players, how many starters are we going to see in the Rutgers game? What's going on with some of these players? We'll touch on that briefly. And Rivals came out with their updated rankings. The Buckeyes have more 5 stars in their class than any other class in the nation. There are also some things that they dropped some players. We're going to dive into that a little bit tonight. Hit that like button before we get going. Hit the subscribe button as well. Man, we're still trying to hit that 37K on Buckeye Scoop. We are inching closer and closer every time. We need y'all's help to do that. And also, super chats are open. They go to help the veterans on the Buckeye Scoop channel. Same on the Buckeye Boys channel. So either way you go, we give back with our super chats. So get them rolling. I got Funky joining me again tonight. Funky, what's up, brother? How you been?
What's up, Devin? I'm feeling like a national champion today, and even a little better today. Well, not really waking up to, but in the morning, seeing that the Buckeyes have the most 5 stars in the class of 2026. I mean, the number one defensive lineman, the number one cornerback, and the number one wide receiver. Pretty good to me. And you also guys like Sam Greer, who's the 33rd ranked player in the class, so you could pencil him in as a 5 star as well. And that's a 5 star offensive tackle, 5 star defensive lineman, 5 star cornerback, and 5 star wide receiver, all in the same class. In a class that, like, we'd consider solid. I wouldn't say this is it's a great class, and it's just a super consistent class as well. But I just can only see it getting better for 2027 and beyond because of the nil approach that other teams are able to take on this class that they won't be able for the upcoming classes. So just one of the weirdest years of recruiting probably in this modern era, having to balance all the nil stuff and signing high schoolers. It's just been very interesting, and Ryan Day has navigated it well, and it's not over yet. So there's still 2 4-star prospects now, one top 100, one kid ranked about 200th, that are both trending towards the Buckeyes. So the Buckeyes are looking to add to their blue chip ratio. And I was like, yeah, the 3-star tight end commit that we just got from the in-state tight end from Ohio got bumped to a 4-star. So if he would have committed a few days later, maybe a few more people would be excited about that one, Dev. But just funny how things work
Yeah.
out, and how within an hour, Chris Henry Jr. goes from the 40th best player in the country, which was always a joke, to the 15th best player in the country, which is more around where he is. He's the number one wide receiver, so I'm not going to complain. But you know what I mean. What really changed within the last hour? Nothing. So don't take these too seriously, but not going to stop me from being happy and looking at this top level talent that we have in this class.
Yeah, you said it. Kari Wilder, Jay Timmons, Chris Henry Jr., Sam Greer. The top 32 players at the end will be 5 stars. And Con 3 has him as the 33rd player. Sam Greer is easily, hands down, a 5-star. They have ranked as the 5th offensive tackle in this class. We've seen how he operated at camps this past season compared to some other ones. So there are some wins here, and there are some losses here. Losses as in, I think, some misevaluations. Obviously, it's a very difficult thing for these guys to do, go in and rank these guys. Nobody's ever going to be happy, but it is good seeing some of these players get the recognition they deserve. Kari Wilder started as a 500 ranked player in the nation. Matter of fact, I don't even think he was ranked. The Buckeyes get in on him. Now he's the number one defensive line in the nation. Jay Timmons, Chris Henry Jr. went through an injury, lost his, pop a little bit, and is showing up and showing out. So love to see these Buckeyes get recognized. And it just goes to show you, man, I love the strategy, Funky, that Ryan Day is using this year, because it's felt like the past 2 classes, it's felt like we've been a little timid right? With how to move forward in this, with how we do things. And most of that has been because we want to keep the culture. But I've always thought, we can still be a little more aggressive here and still keep that culture. And that's what the Buckeyes are doing this year. You know, I already told you we have 10 flips. We're going to have 12 flips in this class before the end of the class is over. And we're going to end up the number 4, number 5 class in the nation. So I love it. This Buckeye coaching staff doing their thing, these senior evaluations. I think next year, I'm not going to be surprised when you see other teams around the country really pushing like Ohio State is this time of year after senior evaluations. They always have, but Ohio State has taken it to a whole nother level this time. They're not giving their big time nil offers during summer official visits. They're waiting until after a senior evaluation. So, if they can pick up some recruits during, the summer official visits, cool. But obviously, we see that this is the time when the Buckeyes really want to start finalizing their class and going in. And why? Said it 100 times, because they have their senior film evaluation. So, man, Ryan Day has got it figured out on the field. He's got it figured out off the field. Mark Pantoni, Body by Marotti, all of them doing their thing here. I do want to bring up a couple here, right? Because we got these rankings and everybody's ecstatic about these 5 stars, but they pulled a fast one on us and they actually lowered our class. We actually dropped by a full half a point. There are a couple ones: Caden Dixon Wyatt, Simeon Caldwell. Caden Dixon Wyatt's the number 60 player on 247 in the nation. They have him outside the top 300. Simeon Caldwell, number 118 on 247. They put him outside the top 300. Maxwell Riley, he's a top 100 player. He's outside top 300. Emmanuel Ruffin and Brock Boyd. But Funky, the one I want to ask you about, I'm going to pull his tape up right now and ask you about him. That's Caden Dixon Wyatt, because he plays on a team with Chris Henry Jr. He has 39 receptions for 624 yards this year and 7 touchdowns. I went and watched him play in person, and it's just really hard for me to believe that this dude is not a top 10 wide receiver in this class. Again, it's not like this conversation or this argument we're about to have, whatever it turns into, is actually important. It's not. This will get proven on the field. I understand that. I just try to figure out, hey, where do they get these ranking from, and how can you put a player like Caden Dixon Wyatt outside of the top 300 in this class? But what's your thoughts on that, Funky?
I mean, I 100% agree. I don't get it. I just assume it's because of the quote unquote lack of production coming from him, because he's on a team with, Mark Bowman, Chris Henry Jr., and a lot of these absolute studs on their team. No, there's a bunch of underclassmen too that get a lot of love, while they also play some of the best competition in the nation, or not some of the best competition, sorry, the best competition in the nation. They go out there out of state, play the best teams out of state, and then in state play all the best teams in state. And I mean, there's no better football than Southern California, and it's not even close. It's not even a debate. There's no better football in the nation compared to what's in Division One, Southern California. I mean, you could go play Carson Palmer's head coach team at Santa Margarita. You can go play St. John Bosco, who has NFL talent all down the line. You can go play Mission Viejo, which is some of the best passing attack in America, and you really can't escape it. You go down to Servite, which is where like Mason Graham and the boys came from, and it's a abundant of or the Centennial too. So I mean, there's just so many good teams in Southern California. So I'm assuming they're just banging him for having a tough schedule and really a decent quarterback. But I think he's committed to Wisconsin. But I'm not a fan. And usually, wow, did something break, Devin? Some news just break? I got a
don't know.
text from a guy saying bingo, and that usually means something. But wait, let me go check on that real quick. But with that being said, I agree. Caden Dixon Wyatt should have he should be top 10 minimum in the class. I mean, I think 247 has him as like the number 6. So there's clearly, and then the Rivals has him as like 50th. I'll tell you right now, Ohio State and Oregon aren't trying to push to flip the 50th best receiver in the nation, you know? So just pretty interesting. Bingo, did
Yeah,
something
it
happen?
is. I don't know. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking to see. You know, I don't see anything anywhere, but obviously I'm in the middle of the show, or I would make about 2 phone calls right now and find out if something did happen. I'm sure, Funky, you're going to do the same thing, but we'll see. There's Brock Williams. He's with CJ. Braxton Rembrandt. So those are 2 other players as well, right? CJ is a top 100 player in the class, the 2026 class. I'm waiting on that one to pop. But I think the one that's going to pop before is Braxton Rembrandt. He actually got rated in Rivals today as the number 202nd player nationally. So Bill Green did a breakdown on the Scoop website about him, talking about him being slept on big time. And it looks like he's caught some attention of some national guys. So we'll see. Is there something who
Lane Kiffin
chat?
to LSU, Devin.
Oh,
That's
that's
the
what it was.
bingo.
Lane Kiffin.
Lane
Okay.
Kiffin to
All
LSU.
right.
It's supposed to be released
Dang.
tomorrow. That's what I'm being told. Tomorrow there's supposed to be a press conference, and he's not coaching the Egg Bowl, and he's not coaching the Ole Miss in the playoffs.
Dang, bro.
Yeah,
Seriously? He did
that's
it
Ole
to
Miss.
him.
Well, that's what Ole Miss is doing. Ole Miss isn't letting him coach in the playoffs or
Oh,
the
okay.
because LSU needs him to decide before signing day so they can keep their team together. While Ole Miss, yeah, well, Ole Miss is like wants the same thing, and they don't want to be left in the dirt after this. So it's looking like Lane Kiffin to LSU. He coached his last game at Ole Miss. So who knows when it'll be officially released? I was told tomorrow, but pretty trusted source. I give it
Yeah.
about 90% confidence. So we'll see if that happens. But there's he's done. He's gone. You know, which
Yeah.
I was surprised about. I
Well,
thought he was going to Florida, but this guy just told me that that was just all a gag to get LSU to pony up even more. Sorry, you can go.
yeah. That just shows you how much of a blessing it is to be a Buckeye right now. You got all these teams searching around. James Franklin going over to Virginia Tech. Ole Miss to LSU. I'm curious what that's going to do with our McKinley brother chances there. That's a pretty good get for LSU, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, Funky, that's got me thrown off a little bit with that news. But what were we talking about? The Buckeyes recruiting. Man, you see, I told you guys, you see these different industry rankings. For instance, we go down through here. Corey Wilder's still ranked the 200th player on 247. Now, 247 is about to do an update as well. We'll see there, but I told you about Caden Dixon White. Simeon Caldwell is another one. He's 118 on 247, not ranked in the top 300 on Rivals. Maxwell Riley. That's another big time miss for Con 3 and Rivals not to put Maxwell Riley in the top 300 players is kind of absurd. You can go watch his film. Every other recruiting site has him as a top 100 player in the class. Jaquaden Guilford went up to the 131 player nationally. Damari Simeon's another one, not ranked on 247, top 100 player on 3. Emmanuel Ruffin's another one. So yeah, these recruiting sites in their rankings, there's a lot of political stuff involved in them. There's a lot of when you bring money right into the equation here, a lot of these recruiting sites they are connected with a lot of agents. They're connected in a lot of ways. And if certain recruits don't go to camps, they'll get lowered if they don't do interviews. So it's one of those things. And Caden Dixon Wyatt, he's just straight up about his business. He's a very quiet kid, not a guy that's going to go out and talk a bunch about what he's doing. He's just going to do it on the field, and that's what he's been doing all year, and he'll continue to do that. But these Buckeyes still on fire. We're waiting on Again, like we said, CJ Borno, the cornerback, the top 100 player in the class according to Rivals, still got a lot of momentum for the Buckeyes there. And Funky, I wanted to hit on real fast because I kind of brushed by it the other day, but I went back and watched his film, and he's not a player to brush by. The Nick Latar, the tight end that we just got, 6'5", 225. I went back and watched his film. The kid can ball, man. The kid's a baller. I'm very surprised when I saw his film. But it makes sense with the new rankings that come out. He's inside the top 300 for Rivals. I keep calling them Con 3 is because they are, but for Rivals. So he's a big time pickup for these Buckeyes, man. What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I was described the guy one of the guys inside Ohio State's building. I asked him about him like really pretty early on, this about a month ago, and he described him as twitchy. He said very twitchy, very explosive, very lengthy, and Ohio State liked them. And then just recently they pulled the trigger, gave him the offer, and got him in the class right away. And the bump in the his recruiting kind of shows that. It shows his senior film, shows Ohio State's senior year evaluations are, I would say, working. I'm not sure if that's the proper word, but I would say mostly working. You can look at the guys that we recruited pretty
On
late.
fire. Yeah.
They all had some pretty big boosts. Or on fire, yeah. I mean, CJ Brana is in the top 100 still. Then you have the Braxter kid who was like the 50th ranked linebacker in the class until his update, and now he's a top 200 kid. So
Yeah.
very, very, very interesting stuff coming from coming from Ohio State and coming from these rankings, and they're pretty interesting. I really try not to give them too much credit because I trust Ohio State more than I trust anything. But in general, they did a pretty good job for most Ohio State recruits. I think they punished too much kids for being injured and stuff. So that's kind of the big issue I have with them. But it's also their jobs are probably just impossible. So that's all you have to go from there. But I was really excited about this get. And I think Keenan Bailey has been knocking it out of the park with tight end and tight end recruiting as of recently. And he's kind of completely changed that game for Ohio State, where now it seems like we get an elite tight end every game or every year.
Yeah. If you look at our tight end room too, Jelani Thurman coming back, Max Clare, my guess, he's going to come back. Christian Bennett can come back if he would like. Will Kazmarek, he's out after this year. I'm not going to be able to come back, but so realistically, we could have went without a tight end in this class. Maybe got two next class. We're in on Brock Williams, and there's another Angelo White, big time tight end out of Ohio in the 27 class. But I'm glad we went in and picked this kid up. He is like the perfect Ohio kid recruit. You saw how fast he committed to the Buckeyes. Just wants to be a Buckeye, man. So again, we'll keep you guys updated on the recruiting front. There's still a lot of things happening. There's some 2027 booms that are going to be coming out. Still waiting on two in the 26 class that I still got a pretty high confidence level on in CJ and Braxton, linebacker and corner. It's going to take our class into the top 5. Might even put us, I believe, in the number 4 class is what that will end up doing. But either way, these rankings don't really mean much. You see the 24 class, what they're doing on the field this year. And some of those guys were a little bit underranked, and we're utilizing them on the field this year for some valuable minutes, Funky. But obviously, man, these Buckeyes, we're getting into a different time of year. A little bit late in the season, right? This is only the second year for the 12-team playoffs where it looks more like the NFL. So teams are still kind of new in how to navigate this season. And we have seen Ryan Day do it. Watch last year, they averaged 60 plays per game. You see this year, they're averaging 61.5 plays per game. And we've seen them hold back some players, Carnell Tate right now. And we're about to play Rutgers. And my guess, Funky, is when it's time to play Rutgers, I cannot wait to see that availability report and see all of Buckeye Nation freak out. Because if I had to guess, there are going to be more than Carnell Tate and J.J. Smith sitting out in that game, or at least getting not starting or resting themselves. Carnell Tate is dang near at 100%. He is fine. JJ, a very minor muscle strain. So both of them could play in the Rutgers game. I don't expect them to do that. But I'm also hearing that we're going to be resting a couple more starters. Don't have those names yet. And there'll also be some big time mix ups, kind of like we've been seeing the last three games. So this is something added on. This didn't happen last year. There wasn't a lot of, unless you recall something I don't, Funky, there wasn't a lot of resting these players last year at the end of the season. It was a different season, obviously, and we couldn't afford to even take a chance at losing. And it's not like we really can this year, but Rutgers is next, and I don't expect to see JJ or Carnell, and I also expect maybe some different offensive linemen to be starting, maybe some defensive linemen, but we'll see. But overall, I trust this coaching staff and what they have, planned right for the rest of this regular season and for these playoffs. Funky, what you got on how Ryan Day has been handling the season and some of the players we may or may not see for the Rutgers game?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. As I reported earlier this week, I expect Carnell Tate to play, but that does not mean I expect him to play much. I expect him to be in there for a few series for his last game in the shoe, and then get the heck out of there. So I expect JJ Smith to be on the injury report and not play at all. I expect Carnell Tate to play a series or two, uh, and there's some other players that I'm not sure what they're going to be listed as, if they're going to play or if they're going to be listed as active or not active. But I could tell you right now that I expect a lot of players to play a few series and then get the heck out of there or not play at all. There's going to be players that are going to be on technically the injury report, quote unquote, or the do not play list, but are not actually injured, and it's fully load management. So fully expect the either the injury report or just the activity report to be pretty filled this week of people that you're like, what the heck? They're injured? No, they're not injured. It's just load management for the game. Rutgers is not good. It's a home game. Our two deeps will have no problem beating them. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how Ohio State fully handles that because as the Oracle reported this morning on BuckeyeScoop.com, there's going to be players that are out that we probably don't expect, or we'll see, and we'll see. I don't expect it to be seniors because they expect them to get their want to get their snaps in this shoe before they graduate, before they go to the NFL draft. But there's definitely gonna be some players. I could see it being like a cornerback or two. I wouldn't be shocked if Iggy or Jermaine sits this one out. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe Caleb doesn't play. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe some of the offensive line guys take this one out and get a rest game going before. I mean, the arguably the biggest regular season game of the year. They're all big, but going into Ann Arbor is going to be a tough one. So that's a good road game, a good road test for the boys, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm looking forward to this Saturday just as much because we got to get our 11th win. Get the 11th win.
Funky, you cut out on us. You cut out for a second, Funky.
Oh, sorry. I'm really excited to see how Ohio State handles this. But I think that's the last thing I said. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Yep, Ohio State on a streak right now. Like we've said 100 times, it's getting to the point where right we get on here and the Buckeyes are almost like in robot form, where they go out and they're just handling business that doesn't leave much to talk about because we can come on here and talk about Julian Sane and the wide receivers, Matty P and the defense, but it's the same thing every single game. You know, national media can't handle it. Talking about Texas A&M being the highlight of the week with their comeback because they sucked in the first half, and in Indiana in the Penn State game. But these Buckeyes rolling along. Funky, one more thing before we get out of here. I never really talked to you about this, but the offensive line, right? There was a lot of people tripping before this game. Then we come out in this game for UCLA. Obviously, not a good run defense, really. But you see Gabe Van Sickle get in there. He took a lot of reps from Tegra. do you think that's a sign for something to come, or do you expect the Buckeyes to kind of keep it the same all the way into the playoffs? We're having Tegra in there, some rotating some people in, or do you think in the playoffs we're going to see a permanent change at the right guard position?
No, I think we're going to keep seeing Tegra, and I think Tegra's better than Gabe Van Sickle. I don't think he's an improvement. Gabe had a really, really rough time versus the team we played before UCLA. What was that, Purdue? Who the heck did we
Purdue,
play
yeah,
before? Yeah, he had a
Purdue.
rough time versus Purdue. He had a way better game versus UCLA, and I still expect him to see some snaps. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I feel like he'll be the sixth offensive lineman rotated if Josh Padilla is still injured. Because Josh Padilla is actually injured. That's not really load management. He's he's banged up. He needs to get back on the field and get healthy again. So I could definitely see Gabe Vincinkle being that sixth offensive lineman we play throughout the year. But no, Tegra is 100% better than Gabe Vincinkle. 100%. He's proven it over and over again. Because if he wasn't better, then he wouldn't be playing the majority of the snaps, and he wouldn't be. I mean, he's the clear starter. There's a reason why no one has taken his job yet. That's what people have to realize. Like, why is Tegra still playing? It's because he's one of the five best offensive linemen on the field, and he's definitely better than Gabe Vincinkle. And if you don't think so, then watch the Purdue tape. Because Gabe Vincinkle was struggling really, really badly in his limited amount of snaps. Looked way better versus UCLA, but so did everybody else. So maybe that's just a UCLA issue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I would love to have a conversation like, from these Ohio State coaches and get a grasp on the Tegra situation, because with my eyes it looked like obviously that we're struggling there, and you would think we would have somebody better back, but then you look at what we're doing on the field and it's like, hey, maybe I'm taking this a little bit too far with Tegra, and he actually, gets the job done. He was there for the national title, got us through that thing, and this year the coaches, man, I think when the coaches watch the film, they see Tegra make a couple mistakes. When the fans watch the film, we think he's making so many mistakes that he has just got to go. And I think there's a disconnect there somewhere. And I'm just going to go ahead and ride with the coaches on it, even though sometimes my mind and my eyes tell me, yo, dude, we got to, have a better option at that position. But hey, we're trucking along, man. I mean, to be honest with you, we are straight trucking along. Yeah, real fast. Listen, guys, when I talk to these players and schedule them, these recruits, I come on here and I announce, hey, like I've told you Brady Edmonds is coming on the show 3 different times. These guys have such wild schedules. This morning I woke up to a message from Brady saying, hey, my flight got delayed. Let's reschedule for Thursday. So I will keep telling you when they're scheduled for. Brady will 100% be back on here. You know, uh, um, he's a Buckeye boy. He's a scoopster. He's part of this. He's been on here before. I talk to him frequently. So Brady is coming on. We will get him on for sure. But right now, it is now rescheduled for Thursday. But yeah, I'll keep trying to give you guys, those interviews. I know you guys like them. I appreciate you guys watching them. I appreciate all the support we get from you guys. But Brock Williams is my next target for the 2027 class that I'm trying to get on here, workout scheduling there. And there's a big, long list of other ones. Probably get Eli Johnson back on here now that he is a Buckeye. We can have a different kind of conversation with him, which it was hard not to have that first interview. But Funky, look, these Buckeyes, they're on cruise control. They're going to be on cruise control, right, until the game, until the scum game, which I hate scum. They suck. We should easily handle that game, but we will see. Then we head into playoffs time, man, where I'll be going to those games. You'll be going to the games. These Buckeyes, we're on a serious heater right now. It's good to be a Buckeye. And we'll see. Yeah, Gio, I reached out to Quentin Cypher as well, waiting to hear back from him. We'll get him on here. I might actually shoot you an email, Gio, see if you can help get him on here for an interview as well. So, all right, Funky, you got anything else you want to add about these Buckeyes, about recruiting? I know there's a lot going on in recruiting right now. It's hard to keep track of, but there is a lot going on. CJ and Braxton are the two next uh, booms that I expect to see in the 26 class. Timing is always kind of a guess at this point in time. But Funky, you got anything else?
I mean, it's going to be a wild, wild, wild next 2 months, I'll say. Yeah, I mean, holy crap! The amount of sleep I'm gonna lose in the next 2 months, Dev, when the national signing day is coming up, when the playoffs are every day, when Ohio State starts hosting uh, visits for portal kids, for 2027 kids committing to dealing with the portal while dealing with a national title run, with losing kids literally during the national title run, and seeing like who's at practice every day, who's still not at, like, because kids could enter the portal in the middle of our playoff run who are not playing. Will it really affect the team? Probably not. But just, I mean, and then with the freshmen getting on campus during the national championship playoff run, it's going to be absolutely insane. And the one thing you guys can do to help us out and be with us during this journey is hit that subscribe button, like the video, keep watching. And so, your guys really help us come here every day and talk about it, because it's going to be crazy. And go to buckeyescoop.com for 30 cents a day. You can get, I mean, if you like the podcast, and the board is great. The board's, I mean, my opinion, better. It's just constant 24/7 information from so many people. I mean, we talk all things Buckeyes. It's great, and that's where we talk about everything first. So if you want everything first and written down, then that's where it is. If you have questions, every question gets answered on the website. So go there. I'm there about 20 hours a day. I sleep for about 2, and I'm on the pod for about 1. So, but yeah, thanks for
Funky,
being here.
I need you to do one more thing before you do. I need Caleb is coming on the show tomorrow with me for some recruiting updates, and I know you're a little closer with him. Can you give the listeners a little information about what they can expect to hear and who they can expect to hear from tomorrow during the show?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Caleb, great kid. Uh, he's actually younger than I am, a year younger than I am. If you guys are on Twitter and if you've been following Buckeye recruiting for a while, you definitely know who this is. He's been very active in the recruiting space, really good friends with a bunch of these recruits, talks to them personally, gets information from them personally, and very well connected for a kid his age, and very respectful, well spoken kid. And I'm excited for him to be on the pod tomorrow. I'm excited to see. I don't think he's ever really been on a live show, so I look forward from hearing to both of you guys. Caleb's, I mean, super knowledgeable. He's out of the South Carolina area, so he is, yeah, go big insides in Tennessee, big insides in the South Carolina and Clemson. So he really knows what he's talking about, and he could pronounce the names of the teams better than I can. So that's a positive. His vocabulary is probably a little more inclined than mine. So that's
Yeah.
always good. But I definitely am looking forward to that, because Caleb's such a good kid too. I'm so glad to have him part of the staff, and had some really good stuff to say on Buckeye Scoop, and his edits are very, very good. So you guys should shoot him a follow on Twitter as well, because he posts some good stuff, and definitely well sourced. I mean, the guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, but before Caleb came over to Scoop, there's 900 accounts on Twitter that talk about recruiting intel and say this or say that. Well, I'd always pay attention. I would see his, and it was always right. He would say, "Hey, expect this," or something would come out, and he was right. So I shot him a message before he joined Scoop and started talking to him, built a little relationship with him. He joined Scoop, and yeah, his write ups on the board, man. He puts a lot of time, a lot of effort into this. Very talented person. His edits, his information, the time that he puts in. So expect a lot of recruiting intel tomorrow. This is what Caleb does. So going to be a huge addition to the show. He's a huge addition to the Scoop board. Um, the Scoop board right now is just on absolute fire with recruiting. We've been ahead of the national media and, quite frankly, a lot of the other media with a lot of these things. A lot of these recruitments that we've seen. You guys know that if you watch the show. Me and Funky and a couple other people have let you guys know about a couple recruits committing. They committed. We're telling you now there's going to be some more, and you will see those pop here shortly. But on that note, we appreciate you guys for watching. As always, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, help us get up to 37K on the Scoop channel. And I almost forgot the Doodah man. Thank you so much. Can you compare the tight end Williams and the tight end that Funky Mark Bowman has seen play in California? I cannot. I haven't watched enough of them. I know that Funky said Mark Bowman is the best tight end recruit that he's seen come out in quite some time. So I think Mark Bowman's an extremely talented. Funky, you got anything to add to that real fast? Sorry for getting to the
Yeah,
super
no,
chat
you're
late.
good. Mark Bowman, I would say is he's a little faster, a little bit smaller presence wise than I would say Brock Williams is. Brock Williams is also the same age as Mark Bowman. So Mark Bowman and him are the same age and the same should be in the same class, but Mark Bowman reclassed the class of 2026. So it they are comparable when they were in the same class already. But with Mark Bowman reclassing and Brock Williams staying in his class, then I would it's hard for me to argue that Brock Williams isn't the better get for Ohio State because he's going to be a year older when he's coming in. So that means throughout his career at Ohio State, he's going to be a year stronger, a year older. Because Brock Williams always been better in the pass pro and better in these like two tight end sets that they're running in Illinois compared to Brock Williams, where he's more of a West Coast style offense, real receiving threat. So I'm going to be interested to see how Brock Williams, or sorry, to see how Brock, what's his name?
Mark,
Mark Mark Bowman is going to develop at USC and how much time he's going to get year one. I would say Mark Bowman's more close to he's more like Brock Bowers. That's my player comp for him. You know, it's kind of recent,
yeah,
so I'm not sure if that's fair. But I would say Brock Williams, his player comp is more like peak wise, like Tucker Craft, George Kittle like, while the other guy's more
yeah, I
finesse,
see that.
more Travis Kelsey, more Brock Bowers like, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I watched a little Brock Williams film, and I just the receiving ability that that cat has is off the chain. That's what stuck out to me. But anyway, we'll do some more evals. Hopefully, he becomes a Buckeye. We expect him to become a Buckeye when he does. We'll do some more evals for you. But dude, I appreciate you with the $10 super chat, brother. Appreciate you guys for watching as always. And yes, Aunt Jenny, JJ Smith is okay. She just texted me during a live stream. Like, hey, are you sure JJ's okay? JJ's okay. Everything's going to be all right, Buckeye Nation. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
Yo.